Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man, and today we're going to do another manga review. Now, today's manga review is going to be on Fairy Tail. We're going to cover 3 volumes, so Fairy Tail 1, Fairy Tail 2, Fairy Tail 2, and Fairy Tail 3. Now, Fairy Tail is written by Hiro Mashima, who also did Rave Master and Eden Zero. He's also done a couple books that are like standalones for a series. I think he did Monster Hunter or like Dragon Rider or something. I don't remember what it was called, but it's like something orange, I think, and it's by him. And yeah, so this is Fairy Tail 1 through 3. This is a Kodansha title. I bought this one new, and these are used from a library, which I bought on Better World Books. And this is like weird because if you can notice, these 2 volumes are shorter than this one. Here, let me see if I can, there you go. Can you guys see that? And this is really annoying. So I don't know if this is common or if it's like they like cut it off or something because it was like bad at the bottom or something. They might have actually. Yeah, they might have cut these down because I'm touching this and it feels like messed up. So I don't know. If anyone has Fairy Tail volumes that are shorter than the other ones, please let me know. It would be interesting to see. And yeah, I might have to just buy a box set instead because I do want to collect this series. Now, the genres for Fairy Tail, I'm just gonna hold the first volume. The genres for Fairy Tail are fantasy and adventure. This is a shonen title, and it does have a lot of the shonen tropes, basically all of them, and it takes some of them to a very high degree. And so this series tends to get some hate from the community because it like goes that far. So because there's 3 volumes of this, I'm not gonna use my usual setup. Although I will talk about the plot lines of each of the volumes, and then kind of just share my general thoughts about it. So these 3 volumes actually cover what are 3 arcs. This first volume has its own arc, and then it sets up for the volume for the second arc in volume 2, which is like 2/3 of it, and then the last third and all of this book are for this third arc, and it basically wraps up in this volume, but there's like 1 chapter left that they cover in volume 4 if I remember correctly. And yeah, so the 3 arcs that are covered here are the Macau arc in volume 1, the Everloo / Daybreak arc in volume 2, and then this one covers the Lullaby arc. And so you really get a very clear picture about what Fairy Tail is and who the main characters are from these 3 volumes. I mean, you get it from volume 1, but volume 2 and 3 and the 2 arcs that are contained within really show you the clear essence of Fairy Tail. And I think it's a really good setup. And if you guys want to check this out, read the first 3 volumes. And if you're not interested, well, I mean, you're not interested and you should move on. I guess that's what I would do anyways. I've already watched the anime, most of it, and I really love Fairy Tail, so I'm going to collect it anyways. But if you're new to the series, that's probably the best way to go about it. So I'm going to talk about the story in each episode, or in each volume, sorry. And then I'll give you my thoughts about it, the whole thing. So, volume 1 covers the meeting between our 2 main characters, Natsu and Lucy. Lucy is technically the main character of Fairy Tail. She's like the narrator. She's also the general character that people are supposed to identify with. And then we get all of the explanations of the world through her. She explains sometimes to other people, and sometimes she gets stuff explained to her. And then that's kind of how we, the reader, learn about the world. Natsu is actually the character that fits the shonen main character archetype. He's loud, he's boisterous, he's foolish, he's hungry, he's has huge fighting prowess and a lot of power-ups and, you know, like strong moves. But he has like his own character traits that make it difficult for readers to identify with him, because the shonen protagonist is usually very clearly an everyman archetype, a everyman character type, which has like a few defining traits, but is usually very bland so that people can project onto him. And that's kind of how it works, and why a lot of the shonen protagonists feel the same. It happens in other types of books as well, so yeah. So this volume has 4 chapters, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it has 4 chapters. The first chapter is the meeting between Lucy and Natsu. You get introduced to her, she does some stuff, they meet, and then through, like the process of the story, they have to fight off an evil guy. Natsu wins, and then he gets Lucy to come with him to Fairy Tail, which is the guild in this world. It's a guild of wizards. And yeah, and so from there, they kind of start doing stuff. Lucy gets accepted into Fairy Tail. She becomes one of them. And then Natsu overhears another character talking to the guild master about something. And then he goes on a small adventure to go save this other character, Macau, who is one of the older members of Fairy Tail, but he's a rather weak one. And, it's like, it's kind of for the sake of character building. Like, you get to learn a lot about Natsu because he wants to go save this guy for a very specific reason, which I don't want to spoil because it kind of, is important to his character development, and it feels kind of mean to spoil it because, it's special. And so they go, and then they do things, and then, they win. And you get a lot of character development from Lucy as well, mostly in the terms of, like, her special capabilities, her, like, magic system. Very easily, Natsu is a fire wizard. He can breathe and cover his body with flames. And Lucy is a celestial wizard, which is a type of summoner. And then that's basically it. That's what is encompassed in this volume. It's very good. It's really short and concise, but it really shows you what Fairy Tail is about. It's a really good introductory volume, in my opinion. Volume 2 kind of follows that up. Natsu and Lucy have decided to form a team, and then they have this job that they found on their request board at the guild, which is that they have to go burn, steal, and then destroy this book, by burning it is the easiest way to do it. And so they go. It turns out it's not really what it seems. There's some secrets behind this book and stuff, and then they figure it out. And then you get a lot of character development from Natsu and Lucy as well. You get to find out that Lucy's kind of greedy. And well, not exactly greedy, but she's not exactly noble, I guess, is the right way to put it. And Natsu is a lot more noble than her, usually, but he's also kind of really stupid. So, and then they set up the next arc. So the first arc in this volume is it's very short. It really helps you develop the world building a lot. Like, you understand how the world works, what type of stuff happens. You get to see 2 wizards of the same type fighting against each other, and that kind of how that works. And then you get some development about the fact that wizards are usually weak physically, but very powerful mentally. And you get some expectations subverted there as well, which is good as well. I think it's a very good, small, short arc that really works well, but it doesn't offer that much besides that. It's kind of a boring one. It's like one of those episodes that you'd probably skip if you're binging. Like, it's canon and stuff, but it's not like that good. But it does have key points to it that are necessary for the story. In terms of like getting into the world. And then they set up this lullaby arc by introducing a new character, if I remember correctly. They introduce Urza here. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, they introduce Urza, which is the best character in Fairy Tail, in my opinion. You get this beautiful double spread of her with like one of those like god shots, I guess. I don't know what to call them, but like a lot of propaganda and stuff that's supposed to make you feel like this other person is better than you. It gets shot from below like that. so you're viewing them above. It's kind of like that. And yeah, so we get introduced Urza. We find out that Natsu and Lucy and Gray, which is another character that was introduced recently, if I remember correctly. I think he was introduced in their first volume. Yeah, because you get a lot of introductions to a lot of the characters in volume 1 in this chapter, which is another really good double spread. You get Mary Jane. You get Gray. And Kana, I think, is in there. Yeah, you get Kana as well down here. And Loki. And so, yeah, Urza gets introduced here. You find out that everyone's kind of scared of her. She's like the same age or slightly older than most of the characters that are there. But she's like scarily powerful. And so everyone's like afraid to get on her bad side. But she's like a really, you know, earnest character. And so she gets back. She says she needs to talk to the Master Makarov, who's like this old Yoda Roshi kind of character. Like, he's the old wise wizard, but also like a perv or like a weird comedy kind of thing to him. Which the earliest thing I can think of that reminds me of that is Yoda. And so I'm curious if Yoda affected Japan. And because they're Japanese, they're like, oh, well, we got to make them perverted too. And so then you get all of these like weird, wacky characters like Roshi, Makarov, Gran Torino, and, you know, like that type of setup. And yeah, so yeah, she talks to the master. She's like, hey, this stuff is happening. I heard this. We need to go figure it out. And then, but the master's not there because he's at a guild master meeting, which is like some sort of government required meeting between all the people that are in charge of guilds in the region. And so he's away. So Urza's just like, well, can't wait. Gotta make my own decisions. And then she asks Natsu and Gray, and therefore Lucy as well, to go with her to help her solve the situation. And basically, it's these people that want to mass murder people in general because they're from a dark guild, and a dark guild is a guild that has lost its membership rights, but that chooses to ignore that and continue to function. And this one is called Eisenwald, and it's run by this evil guy called Aragorn, who's called the God of Death because he is an assassination type wizard. Or he's a wizard that has magic that specializes in assassinating people. His magic isn't special for killing people, but he uses it to kill people specifically. So yeah, that's some world building. And then you get them showing up and like doing stuff. Apparently it's this flute that like has special dark magic that they're gonna use. And Urza, Happy, Gray, Natsu, and Lucy. I think I said Natsu twice, but whatever. They go. They start fighting these people. You get Aragorn, the Death God, which is a wind-type magic user. And you get Kageyama and a bunch of, like, lackeys. But Kageyama is kind of like Shikamaru. He almost looks the same, and he has the same type of, like, power, like shadow magic, essentially. Because Naruto ninjas are basically wizards. So it's, like, the same thing. Let me see if I can find him. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. That's Kageyama. He kind of looks like Shikamaru. He's got the same, like, ponytail, pulled back hair, and the shadow magic, like I said. And yeah, that's basically what happens in this episode. They fight. Urza shows off some of her magic. Gray does as well. And, you know, some characters make an off-the-cuff comment about how Natsu, Gray, and Urza are probably the strongest team that Fairy Tail's ever seen. So it really hypes up your expectations, and like you get excited about what's going to happen because, oh my god, they're the most powerful. What the heck? And you know, they do show off in Volume 3. They all work on their team, but each of them fights individually, and they do a lot of you know, powerful magic. Gray is an ice wizard. Urza is a type of special wizard knight, kind of. Like, she can remove and apply armor very efficiently, very quickly through her magic. And it helps her, like, fight better. But she's basically a knight. And then, yeah, so they fight the Dark Guild. And then Natsu and Gray go away to try to find Aragorn, which is that guy. And Urza starts interrogating all the other characters, all the like lackeys, to see what happens, or to see where he is. Some stuff happens, they're locked in place and they have to break it. Lucy comes up with this interesting idea that Happy gave her. And then, yeah, Natsu has a big battle with Aragorn. You know, stuff happens, and then they move on to a different region because the Kageyama guy kind of goes behind their back and then still goes ahead with their plan that they had. And so they have to go. Kageyama has an interaction with Makarov, and Makarov really shows off a lot of his wisdom here. He did in chapter in volume 1, I think, as well, and he really has these like nice speeches about the power of friendship and the relationships between people, and the fact that sometimes you have to go against the grain in order to achieve success. And, you know, it's really good. He has really interesting, powerful speeches, and he gives one of them to Kageyama about weakness and power, and like how you're weak if you're alone, and you're never gonna rise up if you stay alone, which kind of speaks to the issue that the Dark Guilds have. And so, yeah, it was interesting. It was cool. And then something happens. A big monster shows up. Natsu, Urza, and Gray beat it in like a single move, basically, like together. So it really hypes them up. And then you get some snippets of world building dropped here and there in foreshadowing. You get this thing called the Book of Seraph mentioned. Seraph apparently is this evil dark wizard that lived a long time ago that specialized in life magic, which is a dark magic because it is not allowed to be used. And then you get some name drops for other fairy tale characters. Like, you get Loxus and you get Mystagun. And then people are like, what the heck? Natsu, Urza, and Gray are nowhere near as powerful as any of those guys. What are you talking about? And then, you know, so you get some hype kind of forming for these other characters, which do show up later and are very powerful and very interesting. So, yeah, Fairy Tail is a very fun, very exciting series to read. And yeah, it has really good characters. Each of them is individual, unique, and they all have very specific backstories and, you know, responsibilities and stuff to them. It's really well thought out, and the world building is really good as well. Although it's weird that it's actually as good as it is, because Hiro Mashima, in some of these books at the end and the afterward, mentions that he's really just flying by the seat of his pants here, and he's just kind of doing stuff as it goes. He even asks people to send him in requests for magic types so that he can have characters that have these magic types. So I don't know if that really speaks to Mashima's ability as a writer, or it's just dumb luck that he's like this good at it. I don't know. I think it's a very good series. A lot of people give it flack for being so over the top, and it does get over the top later, and it really kind of just like fumbles and stuff, but it's a very fun, very interesting series. It has a lot of the shonen tropes, and it really plays with them and takes them kind of to their logical conclusion, I guess. That's like a good way to phrase it, but it's really good. The art is really nice. It reminds me of One Piece, although I've never watched One Piece. And Seven Deadly Sins and Maji. It kind of reminds me of those things, because it's these like odd stretched out kind of proportions that still look good. And yeah, so what else? Oh, fanservice. Fairy Tail is a fanservice-y manga. It's very much like boobs and asses, and you get to see a lot of them. It's not always like they're actually naked, but there's a lot of like peaks and like slightly saucy things going on. Like, let me show you some of the art and show you what I mean. Let's see. Okay, well, just to mention the art, it's very nice. You see here's kind of what I mean. Like, Kana is wearing a weird leather bikini. Lucy has very big cleavage. What else? Let's see if I can find it. Lucy is all for using her feminine wiles. And then in volume 3, we get some Urza stuff. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we get some like Witchblade-y looking stuff. We get Urza in her like epic armor. So yeah, like I said, it's not exactly super gratuitous. It's like not always completely nonsensical, but very many times it's just like it didn't need to be there, but it's like fun that it is. That sort of thing. Mostly I just assume that Hiro Mashima is just a fan of it, which is understandable. I'm not gonna hate on it. I enjoy it too. So yeah, if you don't like fan service, this might not be the series for you. But that's that. It's kind of like a sexual humor, if you will. But yeah, that's basically it. The art's really good. The fan service is fine. The characters, world building, and plot are all good. I would say that each of these volumes is a solid 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10. Mostly because they really do a very good job at encapsulating what fairy tale is. And they let you experience, you know, a microcosm of the whole thing very easily and very accessibly. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on fairy tale. Sorry for the late upload. I didn't get to record this past weekend. Because I was doing stuff with my family, so I didn't get to do this in time. So I guess I'll aim for a 3 p.m. release for this video on Monday, June 1st. And yeah, my next video is going to be over the side character light novel that Tentai Books just released, which is really good. So yeah, catch you guys then. Please like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about Fairy Tail and how you feel about the series. I know Nux Taku has made a lot of videos talking about how Fairy Tail is really a good series, even if people say it's not. And I really agree with him. Fairy Tail really is about the guild, although Lucy is technically the main character, and Natsu is later on, kind of, like, but yeah. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of Fairy Tail, and drop a comment down below, leave a like, and if you're new, please subscribe. I'm gonna try to reach 75 subscribers by July, which would be really cool if you guys could help me out. And yeah, see you guys next time.